Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking all of the best spear weapons in Baldur's Gate 3 on a tier list. So, we got two legendary weapons among the company here, and what's cool about spears is not only are they simple melee weapons, but there also are two ways to use it. You can one-hand it or two-hand them. Now, I'll be going over all the spears in the game, and some of them are extremely powerful, so I'll be covering all of this in this video. And the first one we got here is just a regular old pitchfork, which is kind of funny because it's just a weak version of the spear. So obviously we're just going to put it into the roleplay tier, as there's a few that just kind of straight up suck and you wouldn't use them outside of roleplay. So that one, the false spear of the night. So you can actually find spear of the night. There's two legendary versions of the spear of the night, and then there's the false spear of the night, and then additionally there's just a regular old spear too. So their piercing damage, which is one of the better physical damage, or I guess it is the best physical damage type, because the ballistics armor exists, which I'm wearing here. I'll be showing off some of the weapons in this tier list. Next, we got the Jagged spear. So this is a interesting one that you can get very early on in the game. So with this one, you can torture enemies, I guess it considers it. So a tortured creature receives disadvantage on constitution saving throws. What's huge about that is that constitution saving throws are actually some of the most common ones. It's whenever you're holding a concentration on a spell and you get attacked, you have to make a constitution saving throw to resist that concentration breaking. So with this weapon, you can attack a spellcaster, and maybe you dipped it in fire, or maybe you're proccing another type of damage after the fact. They're going to have disadvantage on their saving throws against that. So really nice. Although, one thing I want to mention, it does have a DC 10 charisma saving throw, so it is somewhat commonly resisted later on in the game. But the fact that you can get the Jagged spear really early on in the Shattered Sanctum is honestly quite great, and I feel like this spear is really overlooked, so I will put it up a bit higher, because giving disadvantage on constitution saving throws is really big. Now, one thing I want to note, most of these can be thrown. That's the nice thing about spear weapons, is they work great on a Eldritch Knight or a Throw Zerker build, but the big but here is most of these don't apply their benefits whenever it's thrown. It's only for melee attacks, unless otherwise specified. So I'm trying to beat an A tier. I might actually just put it in the A tier, because the fact that you can get this, like, one of the first weapons you can get, and give us disadvantage on constitution saving throws, that is quite huge. So got to recognize that. It's pretty good. Next, we got Spear +1. Nothing special here. It's just a spear with a +1 weapon enhancement for an additional point of damage and attack roll. So I'm going to put it in C tier, because it's obviously better in the roleplay tier, but doesn't have anything special going for it. Now, the Spear +2 is actually an interesting case, because some of the +2 weapons in the game you can only get by getting to the very end of the game when you go to fight Netherbrain and having a specific class in your party. So if you have a fighter in the party, you're going to be able to get this weapon. So it's literally just a 1d6 or 1d8, depending on if you two-hand or one-handed, +2 enhancement with no extra benefits. So you can fight the Breaker of War on top of the Netherbrain to get this. I'll put in the B tier because it is obviously better than a +1 spear, but not by much, because one, you're getting at the very end of the game, and two, you're probably going to have a +3 spear at this point, so I may actually move that down to C tier, because it's just not something you're going to use very much of, and it's gotten so late in the game that I have to take that into consideration too. We actually have some other cool ones here. This is one of my personal favorites, the Lightning Jabber. So this one will deal an additional 1d4 of lightning damage when you throw it, making it perfect for like an Eldritch Knight, because it'll return to your hand if you bind the weapon. And that additional 1d4 of lightning damage is nice, because if Crete Water set up, that doubles the damage, so a little bit extra damage there. But if you hit it with a melee attack, if you don't throw it, kind of annoying that this doesn't trigger on throwing attacks, you can basically do what's Shocking Grasp, like apply Shocking Grasp to the target. The tooltip says otherwise, like I guess I can show that off here, because I do have this weapon. So I'll pull this up and show you the Lightning Jabber here. So I do like this weapon quite a bit. It says unhit, possibly shock your target. That only applies if you stab them with it instead of throwing it. Below it says throwing lightning damage, so when you throw it, you get that extra lightning damage. It is kind of nice, but not consistent enough to be worthwhile. So for that, I'll probably put the Lightning Jabber, I'll put it in the A tier, because lightning damage is really great damage type, and it can proc a bunch of other things too, so that's good. But again, it's just missing out on some of the extra benefits. If it was able to apply shock when you throw it, that's perfect, because then you can stop targets from taking reactions ranged, which would be pretty cool, but unfortunately that's not the case, so I will just be putting that in the A tier. I do love this weapon though, and it's one that I use often in my playthroughs. But next, I guess I'll save the Shar Spears for the end, just because they are so impactful that I don't want to neglect some of the other ones, because I'll be talking about those for quite a bit. But next, we got ourselves the Watcher's Guide. So this is a interesting one because I guess it's this one. They're very slightly different than their lookings. So this gives, when the spear misses its target, the next attack roll will have True Strike. So you get yourself that extra advantage, or you get advantage on an attack roll. You have to miss to get it, so I'm not going to put it that high. I'll put it in the B tier. Typically, a class that's going to get 2 attacks will not be using simple weapons, so not often will you get a benefit of it, but it'll give you True Strike on the next one, so that's kind of nice. This doesn't apply if you throw it. Again, that's another thing with this, so... Next, we got the Visions of the Absolute. This is one of the more interesting spears because you have to assemble it. It's got that cool appearance. And on top of that, it'll blind targets that fail a dexterity saving throw. I just want to make a note here that dexterity saving throws are the probably easiest to resist. And it's only a DC 11 dexterity saving throw. So early in the game, you're fighting goblins. They have high dexterity. They're likely to resist some dexterity saving throws. And then this gets outclassed pretty quickly. Attack rolls against blinded creatures will have advantage whenever you give them that blind, so that is nice. But yeah, it also has a very unique effect where it deals an additional 2d6 of piercing damage to creatures that sport multiple sets of eyes. When this game first released, it actually said it'll deal an additional 2d6 damage to creatures with multiple eyes, which I got multiple eyes. Pretty much everything in the game has multiple eyes, so yeah, they did change the tooltip to say multiple sets of eyes, which means spiders, deriders, and the spectator. So there's a few extra enemies that will deal an additional 2d6 damage. That's actually kind of a nice boost, especially during the big spider fight that you get. And what's cool about this, the Absolute and Lolth are kind of on 2 ends of the spectrum. So the Absolute kind of goes against what Lolth says, and Lolth's the queen of spiders, so it makes sense in the lore. I think that's pretty cool. It's only useful at certain fights in the game, but still, I'm going to put it in the A tier because when you get it, it is useful. It's not like you get it in Act 3 when it could have been useful in Act 1. Like some of the weapons in this game, which give benefits to the undead in Act 3, which you don't fight that many of in Act 3. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, Visions of the Absolute, pretty decent weapon. I'm going to put it in the A tier. Next, we got the Infernal Spear, and there's also the Infernal Mace. On hit, the affected enemy entity deals an additional 3 poison damage. So this is 1d6 plus 1 plus 3 poison damage. Now, I want to make a note here. Poison damage is the most resisted damage type, so not amazing, but still, 3 guaranteed damage is better than... I would say 3 is better than 1d4 of damage, so... better than it having additional 1d4 poison, so I'll give it points for that. And it can possibly poison the target, which gives disadvantage on their attack rolls. As we know, disadvantage on attack rolls is huge, so I will put this in the B tier because it's like, it's good, but just not the best. And next we got the Shar of the Night. This is not really a weapon you're going to really use, so I might just throw this down the roleplay tier, but if Shar allows it, use the spear to kill a Night Song. It has Shar's blessing. And then we get into the 2 big spears here. There's only a select few legendary weapons in the game, and I got them both here. I obviously had to use console commands to get them both in the game, but there's one clear winner when it comes to Shar's Spear of the Evening and Shar's Spear of the Night, or Selune's Spear of the Night, so I'll go over both of them there because they're interesting. I don't know where my version of it went. Oh, it's right beside it. Selune's Spear of the Night. So here it is. It deals 1d8 damage and a plus 3 enhancement. And you have advantage on wisdom saving throws and perception checks. That's nice. It gives you dark vision up to 12 meters. It gives a Moonbeam level 3 spell and Moon Mote class action. So Moon Mote, illuminate the area around you with wisp of moonous light that make movement difficult for enemies and bolster your enemies' damage. So you get that, which is kind of nice. It belongs everyone there. They get the Selune's lunar brand, so your attacks deal an additional 1d4 of radiant damage. So that is a nice little benefit. It lights the place up quite a bit, so I mean that is kind of cool. And then also it gives you the Moon Mote level 3 spell, 3d10 of moon damage, radiant damage, and you can concentration it so you can continue to move it around. So you can go boom, and then you can go move Moonbeam and hit Minsk. And he says, I don't like that. And you can move it and hit Jahara. So it's decent. Deals an additional, it deals okay amount of damage. It's not like great damage by any means, but but it's there, and it doesn't break concentration if you got Sanctuary popped up. So it's a good spear. It's a +3 weapon enhancement. You get to be able to dark vision, so I will put it up into the S tier. Like, it's not a bad one. Obviously, it's a legendary weapon. It has to be kind of good. But back to the other one. So, Selune, Spirit of the Night, and our personal, or my personal favorite, Shar, Spear of the Evening. So, sorry, Shadowheart. I did use console commands to put this in here, so just bear in mind that. But yeah, it deals the same damage, 1d6 +3. It also does 1d8 +3 if you do it two-handed. Now, it has two very big benefits to it. So, Shar's Blessing. You gain advantage on saving throws when lightly or heavily obscured. This weapon deals an additional 1d6 to creatures that are heavily or lightly obscured. I want to make a little note here that's not listed. This doesn't just apply to damage with the spear. It counts all weapon damage. So, if you shoot them with a bow, it still deals that additional 1d6 damage. So, that's really nice. It also has one of the... There's only two ways you can get blindness immunity. There's this, or I guess there's a very select few ways to do it. The Seal Watcher helmet will give you the ability to not be blinded. And yeah, not being able to be blind is huge because this gives us at-will casting of Shar's Darkness. I guess per turn casting of Shar's Darkness. So you can cast Darkness every single turn with this. That is really nice because Darkness is super huge, and then we can run into it and we're fine. We can still see. So that is a huge benefit because you can literally go into darkness and then go around. It also has the weapon action, it has the, where is it here? Edge of Darkness. This is once per short rest, but this is extremely useful because when you attack with it, it also creates a cloud of darkness. So I'll just show it off on Will here, and it'll deal damage to people in the area. So you can see there it hit Halson. So it creates darkness and hurts people in the area. That's really nice, and it creates the darkness there. So you can literally, if you're going with a stealth-based build like Trickery Cleric, Rogue, etc., you can use this spear. You get piercing damage, so you get all the benefits from the ballast armor, and you can stealth in it, no problem. Because when you stealth in darkness, it's hard for people to spot you. So you can see there, they're not able to spot me until I step out of it, but then you can just jump back in there. So it's actually really good because you can hide in darkness, and you're hard to hit. So that makes it a very powerful weapon, and the fact that it does piercing damage is huge, but also just getting a free cast of darkness every turn is massive. So I would have to say this is by far the best spear in the game. Shar, Spear of the Evening, incredible. It's super useful. I love to use this weapon just because of the massive amount of damage it deals, but also the fact that you can just hide in the damage, or even hide in the darkness, and then you get you get advantage on saving throws from hiding in it, and then also you are not blinded by it. So, and then everyone that's in that darkness as well takes extra damage. So massive amounts of synergy with this weapon. It's extremely nice. I really like Shar, Spear of the Evening, so I'd have to say this is the best spear in Baldur's Gate 3. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me also know what tier list you would like to see next in Baldur's Gate 3. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button below. I really appreciate any and all support. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.